NIO stock is up big, and we got to talk about it. What's up, everybody? My name is Ale, and welcome to my world of stocks. By the way, I apologize if my voice is a little gone. I literally just recorded 2 other videos, so I'm a little tired of talking, but I was recording those other videos, and then, well, let me backtrack a little bit. One of my closest friends and I, we recently bought NIO stock when it was down a lot, and so we've been talking a lot about NIO, and like we're always texting and talking about it, and sometimes, you know, we call each other and talk about it. And anyway, so I recorded those 2 videos, and then, you know, I started talking with my friend, and we couldn't believe that NIO stock was up by so much in just one day. It's pretty crazy. Now, just so you guys know, I should tell you that I only have 100 shares of NIO, so it's practically nothing, and I got it at a very cheap price because, you know, NIO stock has been crashing by so much lately, so it's really not any kind of a big amount at all. I know that a lot of you have been leaving me comments because I made a NIO video not too long ago. A lot of you left comments letting me know that you're invested pretty heavy into NIO stock, so my position is like nothing in comparison to what any of you guys have. I just wanted to dip my toes into NIO because I think that they have a lot of future potential, so I just wanted to pick up like 100 shares. I kind of like that little small position. But anyway, the stock jumped by over 30% today in just one day. That's pretty freaking crazy. But you know, I was talking to my friend about this, and I was telling him, you know, I think people have been so negative on NIO stock lately, and you know, and you know, it might be justified. People could still argue that it's pretty overvalued. When they IPO, they actually at one point they reached a $12 billion market cap despite only making $7 million in revenue in the first half of 2018. So, you know, because of those reasons, like a lot of people just were really negative on NIO stock and the company in general. And then, you know, they were being compared to Tesla, and a lot of people were saying that they shouldn't be compared to Tesla and things like that. But I was telling my friend, you know, I think people are being so negative on NIO right now that if any kind of good news comes out, this is probably going to cause the stock to pop because, you know, so many people were interested and so many people are talking about this company that any kind of good news is probably going to really help the stock. And of course, any negative news will probably really damage the stock as well. But anyway, what happened today is that Bailey Gifford and Company, which is an investment and asset management company, they announced that they own 11% of NIO. And if that name doesn't ring a bell, they are the second largest investor in Tesla, only behind Elon Musk. And so they own around 7.7% of Tesla. So that means that a huge investor in Tesla is actually invested in NIO as well. So that's kind of a big deal. And obviously it sent the stock soaring. Now, we already knew that a giant Chinese company by the name of Tencent, you may have heard of them, they also own Tesla and NIO stock. They own about 5% of Tesla, and they own around 13% of NIO. Now, if you ask me for my opinion on NIO stock, I already made a huge video where I did a lot of research and I talked a lot about all the different numbers, and I'll have that video linked in the description below. It's received a lot of good feedback. It was a very unbiased video, so if you want to check that out, it's in the description below. I'll also have it on a clickable card at the end of this video. But the way I feel about NIO stock is that this is just a very volatile stock that you know, on any kind of good news or any kind of bad news is probably going to jump up by a large amount or crash by a large amount. Because if you look at their IPO, they exploded to $14 a share, rising by around 75% by just the second day of trading. So a 75% increase by just that second day. So that's a really big deal. But if you can ignore all that volatility, in my opinion, I do think that there is a lot of future potential for the company. You're essentially talking about a Tesla competitor. What, you know, we can go back and forth on whether they are or aren't a competitor to Tesla. In my opinion, they are a competitor to Tesla. But so the way I see it is that they are a competitor to Tesla that manufactures their cars in China with cheap labor, and their cars cost, you know, half the price of a Tesla, and Tesla's prices are actually going up because of the trade war, while subsidies from the Chinese government is actually making NIO vehicles even more affordable. And while it's certainly fair to make the argument that a Tesla is a much better car, offers much better performance, I'm sure that's true. I've never driven a Tesla, I've never driven a NIO, so I can't, you know, I can't say anything about that. But you know, based on the reports I've read, is that NIO vehicles are not too far behind in terms of performance. They do offer similar performance, and if you can offer a vehicle that offers similar performance, doesn't have to be as good as Tesla, but if it's pretty darn close and it can get similar performance, and you offer that vehicle for half the price, you're telling me that people aren't going to be interested in that? I don't live in China, so I can't say, how that market would react. But here in the United States, when I think about the middle class, a group that would probably want to buy Teslas, the middle class is really struggling. Like, they're trying to pay off debt, they're trying to increase their income. So, they have a lot of bills to pay, rents are going up all the time. So, I think if you go to the middle class in the United States and you say, hey, here's a Tesla, you can pay, this amount of money for the Tesla brand and this, quality, performance and all that. Or we can give you something that is pretty similar, not too far off in terms of performance or anything like that, and you can pay around half the price. You're telling me that the middle class in America are not gonna go for that half price model? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people will definitely go with the Tesla, but you got to figure that at least at least a pretty good amount of people will go for that half price version. I definitely would. And yes, technically NIO vehicles are only offered in China, so that's a fair point, but NIO is planning to go international by 2020, and I kind of see that as a positive, because that means that they can spend a couple years in China, like perfect their manufacturing, deal with any kind of issues that they have. By the way, when dealing with manufacturing issues, a lot of people are saying NIO is going to have all the same problems that Tesla had. NIO doesn't yet manufacture their own vehicles. They use Jack Motors, and Jack Motors is a very well reputable company, auto manufacturer in China, so they're kind of dealing with all the manufacturing, so they probably won't run into as many of the issues as Tesla. I'm sure they'll still run into some, but maybe not as many as Tesla. And so anyway, so if they can kind of get all of that kind of figured out and then start going international, we know that they're not going to be tapping into the American market until 2020. So they have some time to kind of figure everything out. And another thing that I've noticed is that people that are very negative on NIO, they will say that NIO hasn't done anything. They haven't done anything. They haven't proven themselves. They're just, there's some kind of a scam company that just hasn't done anything. And it's not really true. The NIO actually sold 600 more vehicles than Tesla when Tesla IPO'd. So they were actually kind of ahead. And then when you think about Tesla's IPO, Tesla increased by like 50% when they IPO'd, and they weren't profitable. So, a lot of people, I think a lot of people try to take, when they compare NIO to Tesla, they'll take the best of Tesla and they'll take the worst of NIO, and then they'll make that comparison. And I don't really think that that's fair. I think you should look at everything, right? Like, look at the pros and cons of Tesla, look at the pros and cons of NIO. There's certainly a lot of cons with NIO. Like I said, only 7 million in revenue in the first half of the year, and at one point they had a market cap of like 12 billion. I mean, that's insane, right? So there's a lot of negatives with NIO, but I'm just saying, you gotta be like, you gotta try to be a little unbiased. And then when you look at how many orders they've sold, they claim to have already sold 10,000 orders, and they are guiding for another 20 to 30,000 more orders in the next 9 months. So I don't think things are looking as bad as people say they are. On top of that, NIO isn't just a vehicle, seller. They do also have services and things like that. They have a robust artificial intelligence assistant that goes into their NIO vehicles in the name of Nomi, that offers different services. And then NIO themselves also have they offer, for a monthly service fee, they offer battery swaps for the NIO cars. So if you want to swap out your battery of your NIO vehicle, they can do it within 3 minutes, which I think is pretty impressive. And then they also have trucks driving around. This sounds kind of funny, but they have trucks driving around that I guess can charge your NIO vehicle as well, and they can charge 1/3 of the battery in just 10 minutes. So some of that technology is actually kind of impressive. But when looking at this stock, I can't hide from the fact that this stock is super volatile. I mean, I don't know if I would say that it's a good swing trading stock. It seems a little unpredictable to me. It seems like any kind of positive or negative news is probably going to massively affect this stock. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the day after I post this video, that NIO stock just like crashes and goes down a bunch, and then people call me an idiot. But just again, let me just say, I only own 100 shares. Okay, so if this stock like really tanks, you can't make too much fun of me. It's just 100 shares. It's not that big of a position. But anyway, I just see it as a long-term investment. Now, one thing that I do want to talk to you guys about is that some analyst recommendations were just recently released. So I want to go over some of those with you guys, because that's kind of a new update. So Morgan Stanley, they gave NIO stock an overweight rating with an $8.50 price target. Because right now, so I don't know if I mentioned this, but right now NIO stock is trading at around $8 a share. So that's actually higher than what they're trading at right now. And then Deutsche Bank, they gave it a buy rating and a $9.50 price target. So that's pretty interesting. That's pretty high. $9.50 price target. That's pretty high, and a buy rating. So that's kind of impressive there. But then to be fair, there are some analysts that are a lot more negative. Let's see. Goldman Sachs gave it a price target of just $6.56. Still not too bad. I mean, it was trading lower than that just today, right? So that's actually a little bit higher than that. And then Citigroup actually gave it a price target of $7.20. So these price targets are actually not that bad. They're actually higher than what NIO stock was at just, a little while ago today. So I don't know. I think that's kind of interesting. So anyway, that's all I've got for you guys today. Just a quick little update. Now, I do just want to finish the video by saying, if you are going to invest in NIO stock, this is just my opinion. I'm not telling you what to do, but just my opinion. I would be very cautious because, again, this is a very volatile stock unless you want to swing trade it, but I'm not really good at that, so I usually stay away from that stuff. But I think long term they have a lot of potential, but if you're going to invest in NIO, you got to have a strong stomach for it because this stock could be up, 30%. If a stock can climb 30% in one day, it can drop 30% in one day, okay? So keep that in mind. Like, the stock can go up and down massively. Just, you got to have a strong stomach for it. You got to do your due diligence. You got to, do your research and make your own decisions and realize how much risk you're willing to tolerate. But in the long run, I mean, this could potentially be a good investment. I don't know. We'll see. I just got 100 shares. I wanted to dip my toes in it, and I don't know. I feel pretty good about that 100 shares. But if it drops lower, I would consider adding more. But I don't know. Right now, I think I'll just kind of hold back and wait to see what happens, because up 30% in one day, I don't know if I really want to mess with that too much. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments down below. From what I've seen, most of you seem to be bullish on NIO, but if you're bearish, I'd love to hear your reasons why. There's no reasons why we can't disagree on this stuff. We could have a conversation about it. Just try to be nice, because I know a lot of people have some strong opinions, and people that when I made that NIO video, someone left a comment. I forget what they said, but they said something like, they said, "Oh, you're just like all the other YouTubers that are trying to pump and dump the stock." And I'm like, what? Like, you really think this is ridiculous? Like, I have less than 5,000 subscribers. You really think I have any kind of influence over what's going on with stocks? But anyway, so that's all I've got for you guys today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you support the channel, hit the like button. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Like I said, I recorded 2 other videos today, so I should have some more videos coming out really soon. I've got a video coming up on AMD. A lot of you have been like really asking me a lot to talk about AMD, so I have a video coming up on AMD. I have another video coming up on dividend growth investing, and then we'll probably be looking at some other videos as well. There's some other stocks that I want to talk about too, so more videos coming. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful, beautiful day, and take care. Bye-bye.